listeners, Advocacy Coordinator Tatum here to say thank you for starting your day with our peerless, trusted Progress Texas podcasts. This critical midterm year, you can invest in the largest digital network for Texas progressives by becoming a monthly member for our summer drive. If you haven't joined or increased your gift yet, you can join today at the link in the show notes, and we'll thank you with union-made merch to match your values, plus a shout out on the Daily Dispatch. Thanks in advance for funding the progressive Texas you want to live in today.
I am Bruce Elfant. My interest is getting people registered to vote and turning them out. Texas, Paul Begala said years ago, Texas isn't really a red state, it's a non-voting state, and we need to help people connect the dots as to why this is important. We need to get them registered, and then we need to convince them that their voice matters.
It's Thursday, August 13th, 2026, and this is the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch, rapid response on the breaking news stories Texas progressives need to know. I'm Chris Mosier. We can't do what we do without your support. Huge thanks to Sarah Aberg, Sandra Maddox, and Mary Tadikin for their ongoing sustaining partnership. Much appreciated. A lot of big talk from Big Tough Ken Paxton on debating James Talarico ahead of the midterm election. 3 opportunities that we know of offered up by big media outlets. James Talarico has accepted all 3, but John Moritz at the Austin American-Statesman says the prospect, one that every Texas progressive dreams of, a live, nowhere to hide, full-color, head-to-head matchup between these guys on a stage, is becoming more doubtful as Ken Paxton has officially missed a key deadline for a proposed late September debate co-sponsored by Hearst Newspapers, which owns the Statesman, and NBC Telemundo. Team Talarico maintains that specific dates and venues for additional October debates are already set, and that Ken Paxton is simply continuing the pattern of dodging debates that he has maintained for over a decade. Paxton's campaign continues to push back, claiming they actually have agreed to a debate at some point with Talarico and that they're working on it, but with the countdown to Election Day hitting 82 days as of this morning, there remains no established nor verifiable date that Ken Paxton has agreed to. The word I'd lay out there at this point would be chicken shit. But let's continue to watch. What questions might we want a debate moderator to ask Ken Paxton in such an exchange? Well, let's see. How about, were you surprised when you got away with using the Texas Attorney General's office to benefit a wealthy donor and your girlfriend with the side benefit of a swank kitchen upgrade? Were you relieved also to more or less get away with federal securities fraud after almost a decade under investigation? Did you think nobody would notice when you listed 3 different homes as your primary residence to lock in cheap mortgage rates and double dip on tax breaks? How did you manage to build a multi-million-dollar real estate empire on a state employee's salary? Did you really vote using your estranged wife's Collin County address rather than your new one in Denton County in several elections? And let's add to all those classics a new question. What do you plan to do, also under the authority of the Texas AG's office, on behalf of tech billionaires in exchange for almost $500,000 in campaign donations? Caroline Love at KERA in Dallas says the Paxton campaign has collected at least $448,000 from data center executives and political action committees. Just so happens right as his office is pondering a decision on local data center regulation in Hood County, where local officials have been awaiting an official opinion on whether those local electeds possess the legal authority to put the brakes on new data center construction in their county in response to resident pushback over water use, farmland use, power grid strain, traffic, and noise. Ken Paxton taking a great big fat check from the fat cats who stand to gain or lose from that decision in terms of dispensing with any concern about the appearance of undue influence in a public legal matter is really par for the course at this point. I'm a regular listener myself of the 817 podcast, a progressive political product focusing on Fort Worth and Tarrant County. Great stuff. And I got to say, the news about EJ is probably the best thing that could happen to a political pundit, though it probably wasn't fun at the time. Sarah Bahari at the Dallas Morning News says 817 host EJ Carrion was jailed yesterday in Fort Worth on charges of disrupting that public meeting last week at the Tarrant County Commissioner's Court that saw a tsunami of public pushback on Republican county officials' plans to slash the number of voting locations for the midterms. The charge was dirty language, as EJ did get a little salty during his time on the mic. This overreach on the part of Tarrant County Judge Tim O'Hare and District Attorney Phil Sorrells, on one hand, represents a troubling weaponization of law enforcement to silence their dissenters, but on the other hand, this ham-fisted and clearly authoritarian sidestepping of the First Amendment also comes just as Tarrant County voters appear to be awakening to the right-wing stranglehold their county has been under, just as a major opportunity to correct that issue is coming up in November. County Commissioner Elisa Simmons, who happens to be Tim O'Hare's challenger for Tarrant County judge, in a statement this morning says, quote, "The First Amendment does not exist to protect only speech that government officials find polite, comfortable, or agreeable. It exists precisely because citizens must remain free to criticize their government passionately and at times offensively, without fear that government power will be used to punish them for doing so. Profanity, standing alone, does not strip speech of First Amendment protection. Tarrant County residents should also question the use of taxpayer resources to arrest and detain community members over conduct arising from their participation in a public government meeting, particularly when our courts, law enforcement agencies, and county jail already face significant demands. And the timing cannot be ignored. Another vote concerning polling locations is scheduled for September 1st, unquote. And indeed, from Tim O'Hare cracking down on a popular podcaster, to Donald Trump's trashing of the Big Bend, to Ken Paxton taking big checks from data center CEOs while dodging debates, to Greg Abbott's extraordinarily goofy brisket chopping technique, there seems to be quite a lot of terrible timing coming from the Republican side this week. We'll see if they feel the fire from pissed off Texas voters come this fall. Coming up tomorrow, Friday, join Progress Texas and Civitech for a live podcast with Democratic state leaders during the final DNC meeting before the midterm. Civitech CEO Jeremy Smith, Progress Texas Executive Director Kathleen Thompson, South Carolina Democratic Party Chair Cristal Spain, and Texas Democratic Party Chair Kendall Scudder will gather to discuss how today's technology can be harnessed to expand voter participation for 2026 and beyond. Our podcast taping at Antone's in downtown Austin Friday morning at 11:30 a.m. is free to attend, but we do want you to RSVP. We're in the peak of dry summer giving months for nonprofits, and we need patrons of Progress to support the real free press as we amplify affordability, public education, and safe communities. If you're able, please sponsor our event. We're raising $60,000 to get to Election Day, and we could use your help. Sponsorships for Friday's event start at just $250. This free event, again, happens Friday, August 14th, tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. at Antone's Nightclub, downtown Austin, and is made possible by Civitech, Charles Zeller, John Cotter, Valerie DeVille, Donna Tabrizi, and the Honorable Steve Adler, and his new book, Hot Seat, Hot City, which is out August 25th. By the way, watch for a conversation with Mayor Adler coming to this podcast feed in the next few days. Building the electorate takes work, and we know that you're in. We'll see you tomorrow morning at Antone's. Houston listeners, the next episode of our In Progress Roundtable show will come to you on the radio on KPFT 90.1 FM at 6:30 this evening and every Thursday. And San Antonio listeners, it'll be on in your town at the same time this afternoon, 6:30 on Empower House Radio. That's at 101.5 FM. With your support, we hope to continue to expand our radio footprint across Texas this year. See the link in the show notes to make your tax-deductible donation to help us reach new audiences via Texas Radio. Our summer sustaining donor drive continues as well. Shout out for new supporter Paul Swan of Austin. Paul, your help is very well timed and much appreciated. We're glad to have you on board, and we look forward to seeing you soon. See the link in the show notes or hit progresstexas.org to join the family like Paul has during our summer sustaining donor drive. That's the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch for this Thursday, August 13th, 2026. Links to all these original stories can be found in our show notes. Learn more about what we do and how you can get involved at progresstexas.org. I'm Chris Mosier. Thanks so much for listening. Have a terrific day. We'll see you again here tomorrow morning.